Strangers and Aliens, the Pendragon Cycle, Rise of the Merlin, episodes 1 through 3, review conversation with Evan David and me, Ben Avery. Let's talk about it. Hey, I'm Ben Avery. This is Evan David,
Howdy.
my co-host when we managed to be able to record together. So
Which hopefully, and then we say this every time, but hopefully we'll
we
be
do.
more often.
We do.
Yes.
But here is the deal. You have a question, Evan, that you've asked me the last, 3, 4, maybe even 5 times that we've recorded together. Do you remember what that question is?
Have you watched the Unicorn Warriors Eternal? Is that one? Is that it?
That's not the question. Because no,
Oh.
I haven't. But yeah, you're right. You have asked that question a lot too. No, it's the other.
By the way, speaking of King Arthur, Unicorn Warriors Eternal, Ben.
Okay. All right. The other question that maybe you haven't asked as much.
Have you watched Pantheon?
Yes, I have, and we can talk about it, but not this episode. So, yes, I finally did watch it, and Evan, I'm so glad you made me watch it.
Excellent.
I am. I just spoiler alert. I liked it, but we'll be talking about it later. So that's
Cool.
not this episode. That'll be one of our next episodes. No, this episode, I wanted to do this one because it's a little more timely, because it is a TV series that is airing right now on a streaming service, which we will talk about the viewing experience, and we will talk about the first 3 episodes. And then I'm hoping between now and the 7th episode, we'll have talked about Pantheon. We'll talk about movies from 2025. And then we'll talk about the entire season of Rise of the Merlin. And so that's kind of the next 3 episodes kind of planned out for us. In the meantime, I am doing shorter reviews of Star Trek Starfleet Academy over on TikTok and here on YouTube. And I'm also doing short reviews of each episode of The Rise of the Merlin. And so I've done 3 mini review episodes, just the 3 minutes, so I can still upload it as a short and as a reel, because I'm trying to get as much use out of them as possible.
Sure.
So, yeah, so I did do TikTok reviews of episode 1, 2, and 3, and now we get to have a little more laid back conversation and some back and forth. Which to start with, I want to start with the source material, and of course I have it right here. Here is the trilogy:
All right.
Taliesin, Merlin, Arthur. And then here are book 4 and 5 in the trilogy,
Okay.
Grail and Pendragon. And then book 6 in the trilogy, I can't find right now. It's somewhere in my boxes over there somewhere. I can't find it. I haven't been able to find it since the move, because I don't know what box I put it in, and I just have some boxes that just have stuff in them. So, but that is Avalon, where we do a time jump into the modern day. And then I thought that the new book had been released, but there is a 7th book in the trilogy that is actually, I think, going to be released in April. And so I thought it would have been already been released, but when I looked it up recently, it's April. So it's not been released yet, but I'm pretty sure that they are releasing it to capitalize on this series.
Sure.
So, yeah. So I did do a review here on YouTube of Taliesin. I'm going to be doing a review of Merlin as soon as I'm done reading it, but I'm not done reading it or rereading it. But Evan, you have not read any of these books, is that right?
No, I have not. I've never heard of them. I mean, I've heard of the characters, obviously.
Yeah.
But not the not any of these books. So the trailer or the announcement of the series was the very first time I had heard of it.
Okay. All right. And yeah, I mean, that is one thing. You go into this, you're not going in blind, even though you've never read the book. You know the people, or at least.
Yes. And I should say vaguely, like,
Yeah.
I haven't read the actual lore, source material, the legends and stuff like that. I've seen a bunch of other stuff and read a bunch of other stuff that is based on the original stuff, but I really haven't delved into the actual original.
Yeah.
source material.
So when I did my review of Taliesin, I brought this book out, but this book right here was my introduction to King Arthur and all this stuff.
Mm.
Um, and this book, I did not realize this. Even it didn't even strike me when I was talking about this. This book is 100 years old.
Oh wow!
Um, I got it for 10 cents at a library book sale when I
Like the
was like
actual
9 or
physical book
10.
you're holding is 100 years old.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh wow!
yeah. No, the publication date is 1926 or
Wow!
1927. 1927,
99 years old.
99 years old. It's getting up there in age. Um, and it was gifted to Merry Christmas to Jack from Aunt Irma,
Oh,
December 25th, 1932.
well, that's nice, Aunt Irma.
So this is a retelling, obviously, of the myths, but it was based on the Morte d'Arthur. And so, no, yeah, the Morte d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory, and this was my introduction to the Arthurian legends in depth. Obviously, you know about it just because it's just around you.
Yeah,
But that's when the first book where I actually was sitting down and reading these myths, reading these legends. Um, and there was a while when I was not quite an Arthur nut, but I did love the Round Table. And when I first got my job at the church where I'm at right now, they had an 8-foot table, folding table that we did our staff meetings around. And I pulled that out and brought in a round table
nice.
to do our staff meetings around it because I did want to kind of avoid that having a head of the table kind of
Yeah,
a place. Um, we've since gotten rid of that because my staff has grown bigger than that, and we had a long, thin room that we were going to be using, and so I now am back to a long, thin table, and I do end up sitting at the head of the table
mm,
more than I would like to. But
like Palpatine.
yes, yeah, I'm now more Palpatine than Arthur these days. So yeah. Yeah, so, these books are from the '80s, and, the original trilogies from the '80s. I read them in the late '80s, when I was in high school, and then I do remember reading them again when I was in college, and hadn't touched them since then, other than picking up the newer ones as they were coming out. Avalon, I never finished, though, and so I wanna find out that's the one I wanna find just because, I never finished it because I just couldn't get into it. Um, but yeah, so we have watched the first 3 episodes. Episodes 1 and 2 basically took this book right here, Taliesin, and turned it into a movie, I believe.
Yeah.
Like it's 2 episodes. I mean, that's movie length right there. We are now knee deep into this book, which I haven't finished it yet, but we haven't gotten any new material in the show from the spot that I'm in the book. So
Okay.
I'm good there. Um, and then this is where I'm like, is Daily Wire going to make it here? Like, are they
Well,
gonna
what do
get
you
to
mean?
Arthur? I I brought this up a couple times, but I'm just so curious if they're going to want to or be able to maintain just production on this show.
From what I've seen, yes, they're going to.
Okay.
Just they're very. It's a mission for them, like it is a mission. So and yeah, they've got deep pockets.
Okay. Well, see, that's the question is like, does it make a profit for us? Is this bringing in new viewers, or is it just a matter of we're doing it because we're doing it? We're
Well,
doing it
and it
because
is
we
it
want
is
to.
bringing in new viewers, is from what I've heard.
What brought me in?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
There's some apparently there's some people who like hate the Daily Wire and the people there and their mission, you know, but they're subscribing so they can watch it. So very interesting.
yeah, yeah. So when you subscribed, did you subscribe to the Pendragon? What do they call that?
The Pendragon
Pendragon
Pass, whatever it
Pass.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you
Yep.
did? Yeah. I mean, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
If you're gonna watch the whole thing, you are from beginning to end, like, first week to last week, you have to subscribe to 2 months,
Yeah.
which is $15 a month if you're only gonna subscribe to 2 months. $30. And the Pendragon Pass, $30 for 3 months. So
Nice, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they do have some, like, I've watched some of, What Is a Woman, which, before I, subscribed even, and that's pretty entertaining, and then they've got, some other stuff on there that's obviously it's not a sci-fi fantasy hub.
No.
It's not.
No, it's not. It's not. The one movie I'm curious about, but it's actually not only on Daily Wire. I could have watched this at any point, but I saw ads for it on, Facebook related to Daily Wire, but then it's on Tubi. So,
What is it?
it's not a I don't know if it's a Daily Wire original or if they somehow, like, signed a deal with the makers of it. It's called Surprised by Oxford.
Hmm.
And, there it's a riff on C.S. Lewis's autobiography, Surprised by Joy.
Oh,
Uh, and apparently it's a memoir. It's an actual, like, someone actually wrote this about her own life where I believe she's American, but she went to Oxford and basically encountered Christ through just the things she was, getting into. And some of that was C.S. Lewis's writings or something like that. So, yeah. So
yeah.
I'm curious to watch that, but
They've also got a couple of action movies on there that they've
do
made.
they?
Yeah, they do.
Really?
With Gina Carano from The Mandalorian is in one of them,
Oh,
and
okay.
because they wanted to uncancel her, so they brought her on.
Right, right.
And then, there's another one called Run, Hide, Fight, which is about, like, workplace shootings, I think, but it's an action movie.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of, and there's a comedy, so they've been slowly building a small library of
Well,
entertainment things.
I remember at some point in the maybe not so recent past, they put out a call for, like, children's programming,
Yes, mhm.
and I don't see any of that on there, so I don't know what that's if they ever did anything with that or what, but,
Well, they're still advertising
um
it, so I don't know.
okay.
I know some of the stuff I had thought was there was actually done by Angel Studios and not them.
Okay.
So, like, I've watched a couple of Angel things. We should do an episode on that studio sometime because, man, they're pumping out content
Yeah,
left
they
and
are.
and it's
There's
not bad.
so much, so
Yeah.
much. Yeah. Um, okay. So I just wasn't sure what their plan was with this. If it was a matter of, we're going to see if this is going to get us the viewers and get us dollars, or if it was we're trying to change culture. We want to
Well,
like get we want to get our version of Game of Thrones
there's de
or whatever. So
it's definitely that more than it is the other thing. I'm sure the other thing is there, but it's definitely like the way they're touting it anyway is this is our answer to the woke culture or whatever it is.
yeah.
And yeah, so my question, actually, Ben, is after seeing the first 3 episodes, I'm
Hmm.
wondering, is there gonna be another season, or are they just gonna knock the whole story out in these
No,
7,
no. I
episodes?
I believe that they are because there's 7 books, 6 technically because the seventh hasn't been of material
Sure,
to do. Um, and it doesn't feel like they rushed through this one. This is not a small book.
sure,
This is not a small book. And what was interesting when I did originally get these, I've talked about the CB on the podcast before or on the channel. Crossway Books. When I was in high school, I would look for that on the spine because that was This Present Darkness, that was Angel Walk, that was Stephen Lawhead, that was a publisher that was putting out the sci-fi, the fantasy, the Christian stuff though. And so I would go into a Christian bookstore and look for that CB right there. And the books typically are about an inch shorter than this. But I mean, this is, yeah, 450 pages, but they also made the pages bigger. Like, I feel like that they had to because there's just so much in
mhm,
here. And they did that with one of Peretti's books too. So This Present Darkness and Piercing the Darkness were both that smaller size, but then Prophet they did in this larger format. Um, but anyway, they there's a lot of story that they had to skip over in this one because they just did it in 2 episodes and they did it fast. but they did it in high quality. We'll talk about it, but I was amazed how well they adapted what was a giant book with two main characters who have convoluted, complicated, and compelling backstories. And with Merlin, they did move fast. Don't get me wrong; they move fast, but part of it was I think that they're doing this time jumping thing, which I'm not a big fan of the time jumping that they're doing right now, or the nonlinear storytelling that they're doing right now. Because even though I'm reading this one and I read Taliesin, some of the time jumping for the nonlinear storytelling is a little confusing at first,
Mm.
and I'm not a big fan of that style of things, but I do feel like that the Rise of the Merlin is going to cover Taliesin and Merlin, the second book. And then season 2 is when you start getting into Arthur
Okay.
and that stuff. And then there are 3 books that take place with Arthur, and that's Arthur, Grail, and Pendragon. And Grail, if I remember correctly, goes back to Arthur when he's a child. It might be Pendragon though. I can't remember now. But there's a lot more of Arthur as a child that you get into with one of these books. And yeah, so there's a lot of material for them to dig into. And what's going to be interesting to me is I feel like where Stephen Lawhead later on has to do nonlinear time storytelling, I feel like they're going to, when they get into the Arthur stuff, go more linearly.
Right. And just
And
put everything in order where it belongs.
yeah, yeah. Whereas in right now they're doing nonlinear with Merlin, and so but this is
Well,
very linear.
I
So
wouldn't even. We could talk about this. To me, it doesn't seem nonlinear. It just seems like they're using flashbacks a lot.
yeah,
Um,
they're bouncing back and forth with those flashbacks, and it's to different spots in the flashbacks. And if I remember correctly, I might be wrong about this, but I feel like there's at least one flashback within a flashback. But
well, yeah, but with like Christopher Nolan, like when I think of nonlinear storytelling, I'm thinking of like The Prestige, where there's like 4 layers of time that you're jumping between, and it's very unclear which one is like the prime, time.
yeah,
But with Merlin, I feel like it's pretty clear when we are in the present, and when we're not. So, but before we jump in, I just want to give you, because I know that you are pretty well versed in the King Arthur lore. I would just want to give you my exposure to the King Arthur lore so that you
sure,
can know where I'm starting from. So we have the Sword in the Stone from Disney, obviously.
yeah,
Not my
strong start.
Yeah, not my favorite though.
Huh.
I rented the Merlin. I think it was a movie, or maybe it was a TV show, and they released it as a movie with Sam Neill.
That
Um,
was a TV movie, I think,
okay, yep.
or a TV miniseries, maybe.
Watched that as it was a big VHS tape. So
Nice.
watched that when I was a kid. Let's see. I
How about
there,
First Night
Nope,
with I think it's Sean Connery
nope,
and nuts. I can't remember who played Lancelot. Okay, but no First Night for you. All right.
nope. The Once Upon a Time, the Disney TV show. At one season, they got into King Arthur stuff. It's probably very inaccurate. Learned about it in high school. Um, let's see, was there one other one? I think there was another, Unicorn Warriors Eternal and Troll Hunters.
Okay.
I'm sure I've missed one or two in there, but that's my oh, and Quest for Camelot. That's another one.
Hey,
That's
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That
I
was the
mean,
coolest Excalibur out of all those.
the important beats to know are that Arthur, as a child, wasn't expected to be much, and then pulled the sword out of the stone, and becomes High King of Britain.
Oh, I
And
did watch the Guy Ritchie movie too.
the that's pretty recent, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Mhm,
Just a
mhm.
couple years ago. I did not watch that.
It
I
was
did not.
not bad, but I don't think it's anywhere near resembling anything accurate of
Um,
the original source material, but it was not bad.
the thing is, the original source material, there's a lot of sources. And that's actually one of the cool things that that Lawhead did was he kind of took all of these different sources and harmonized them, and took the different elements and is like, well, how do I fit this all into a single story that actually makes sense? Because there's some of those myths and legends that they contradict each other,
Yeah.
and they come from different sources, and then they were brought together into a single source that still contradicted each other. And then, so he took it, and I know other people have done this, but his is the one that I first read, where I'm like, this is really, really cool, and I don't know if I ever need to read any others because, I mean, obviously I read, this one when I was a kid,
Mm,
but, um, his series was the one where I know other people are doing it, but I don't care.
cool.
So
Morgan Le Fay from DC
mhm.
Universe, and oh, there was one more. Oh well, I'll bring it up if
Camelot 3000?
no,
No?
no.
Yeah, I did read that, and yeah, I've watched movies, and I have, read
Indiana Jones.
comics.
Indiana Jones number 3.
There we go. There we go. That's another element to know. So Excalibur, that's the movie. That's the big movie that is early
I want
80s?
I want to
81,
watch it,
82?
but I've heard it has lots of things in it that I don't
It
want
does
to
have things in it. Yeah,
watch. So
it does. It
otherwise, I would
does.
like to watch it, but
So, but that was from the early 80s. And yeah, so John Boorman, I think, had directed that.
I don't know. But it was the movie that Bruce Wayne was leaving with his parents in the Zack Snyder version when they were killed. So
Which, I mean, there's a having him leave Zorro is like leads toward the individualism of the superhero that he becomes.
yeah.
you know? But having him leave Excalibur, where you have the knights and the round table, and that is foreshadowing more Justice League
Well, at
than
the end of Justice
Batman.
League, he creates a round table in the old Wayne Manor to be the Justice League headquarters, and we never get to see anyone sit at that table. So,
Yeah. Oh, but they what we will. It's coming back because of things.
oh, because
Snyderverse.
the Netflix stuff. I tell
Yeah,
you, man, that
Snyderverse never dies.
I even if they do like an animated version, I'd love to see where that was going. You know, it doesn't need to be my main DC universe, but man, I they were setting up a lot of cool stuff that we never get
They
to see.
they're set up a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. That's always been like whenever you have someone taking those big swings. And then you're like, "But what if they don't get to" Oh, that's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Is they're not gonna get to do it. So, hey, let's talk about Taliesin and Merlin and the first 3 episodes. So, episodes 1 and 2, like I said, they kind of form a single movie, experience of the Taliesin book, where we get the background for Karis and the background for Taliesin. So to get Arthur's backstory, we are going to tell Merlin's backstory to the point where he is born, and go back even further to the point when Merlin's dad was born.
Yeah.
So we're
Well,
gonna
Shantae and I were watching it, and we're like, "Is that Merlin? Which one is?" So first we thought it was Merlin's father's father. We're like, "That's the main character," but no, it's the baby he fishes out. That's the main character. That's Merlin. No, it's not. It's not Merlin.
yeah,
So the whole time
yeah.
we're like, "What is happening? Who are these people?"
But that's the book. That's what the books did. In fact, I've talked about this before, but, when I read Taliesin when I was first reading this book series, it was like, "Come on, let's get to the good stuff, all right?" And it's Atlantis this, and it's Merlin's grandpa,
Yeah,
and then finally you get Merlin's birth, and you get the origin of his name because
yeah,
they find the bird, and, um, the ending of the book is almost as abrupt as the ending of that second episode, where, Taliesin does get kinda shot out of nowhere. It's not the same. It's not right after Merlin's birth. It's actually he's out traveling, um, and that's when he gets shot, but, yeah, I'm gonna tell you this though. I'm assuming you haven't watched any of her TikToks.
Uh, I haven't watched
The
anybody's
Strange and
TikTok.
Aliens TikToks about
Nope.
um episode 2 of this show has been the best hour of television I watched all year.
Oh, wow. Well,
I mean,
we're
we're
only in
February
month 1.
1st, but
Yeah.
yeah. But best hour of television I watched all year, and I've watched a lot of television this year. It just hasn't been very good. So, not a very high bar, but I do mean it to mean something. Like that second episode was so good for me. And I was invested. I was getting into it, and because they changed the ending slightly, it came out of nowhere. Like I knew Taliesin's going to die. I should say we're going to spoil these these
A
episodes.
little late.
Uh,
Might have to go
yeah,
back and do a disclaimer at
I'll
the
I'll do a little title or something, but I knew he was going to die, but when they did it, it came out of nowhere, and I already knew like what Merlin when Merlin was born, I knew it was going to happen, and I knew that Taliesin was going to sing him back to life. And as I'm watching it, I'm still getting choked up. I'm like, this is emotionally affecting me right now. Now, children will do that for me, but um, yeah, I mean, I got emotionally into it. High praise for that episode, and the other 2 episodes I also would say were very, very good, but that one towered above them for me.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah. Um, okay, so you're coming in, you're watching it, you have no idea where this is going.
No.
It's characters you have no idea who they are. It's
Yeah,
it's not Merlin, it's not Arthur, so anything could happen.
exactly.
Um, so what did you think when you realized where Karis was living?
Well, that sucked me in immediately. I'm like, "Oh, yes, anything Atlantis, I'm all the way in." So that was cool. I was just yeah, and that whole there was one shot in Atlantis where I'm like, "That looks cheesy TV," but
Mhm.
everything else, in that whole that they sold it. It looked realistic. It looked like it was a cool civilization. Yeah, there was one shot where it's like the camera's there and you can see the perfect little volcano island in the background, and it's like that doesn't look like a real island. But other than that, the special effects for this has been really great. I also watching the trailer going in, I knew there was going to be uh heavy Christian themes in it. And so that was cool. And so, kind of like with The Chosen, where you're going in and you obviously you know the story and you know all the characters, but they're introducing characters and you're like, okay, now who is this? Who is
Mhm.
that character? What, and they kind of throw you a couple red herrings every now and again. And so with it was kind of like that same kind of vibe. It's like, okay, well, I know this has to happen or that, this person is in there, but I don't know who's who or well, what's what or where it's coming from. So that was cool. Like, what's it? Karis is her name? Her
Yeah, yeah.
sister, right?
Uh-huh.
Recognized that as soon as I saw her name. So that was like, oh, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so yeah.
Um, going back to the special effects, I feel like anytime that there's been a real long shot of something, uh, I've been taken right out. Like, I just it just feels like a little bit off, and there was one shot, and they'd used it twice in the first episode where it's basically 3 planes of focus. You have Karis in the foreground, and it's her back, and then you have the bull across the arena, and then you have the crowd on the backside of the shot. And whenever that shot of her with the bull, it just didn't work for me. And they used it at least 2 times. The stuff when she's jumping over the bull, the stuff when the bull is getting ready to run and stuff, and there's nothing else in the shot, no other people, they're all fine. It was just that one more static shot, and I don't know if it's because it's not very kinetic, that, it just stuck out to me as like, that doesn't feel like that feels like you coulda used a little more rendering maybe, or I
Yeah,
don't know.
I didn't notice that. The one, like I said, for me, it was like it was a matte painting shot. Like in the olden days, they would have used a matte painting, and you could tell,
Mhm.
that they've just cut a hole, for the arena to sit in, for everything else to. So it was that, but that was the only thing. Like the castle that her dad adopts
Mhm.
later in Britain, that looks sweet. Like that looks really legit. And then obviously they went I think he went on like location somewhere because
They
the
are they're in Budapest. Is that how you
oh,
say it?
I've been
Bu
there.
Budapest?
Yes,
Budapest?
that's technically
I
how
mean,
you.
Americans say it Budapest. I don't know
Yeah.
what other yeah, but here's the thing. I think I might have figured out on the long shots for me, it's whenever they had a shot where they were compositing a built 3D environment onto a live shot environment. So, like, when there's the little fortress in the background that's getting attacked and that, um, but it's against the mountains,
Mhm.
I feel like that's when the effects don't work for me. But, but generally, the effects where, like, even if it's maybe a green screen, I don't know, but it's an effect that they've built the environment, and that's the only thing they're showing is this rendered environment. I feel like that looks pretty good, pretty strong, and then obviously they're building, actual environments, the
Yeah.
people like the
Well, like,
stables and the throne rooms and things like that.
and I've been looking, like, I've been trying to find the cracks, and I haven't been able to find many, because obviously this is a kind of an unprecedented type of show where it's, it's this startup company who
Mhm.
has done 0 content like this before, and they're just taking a huge swing. Like, the opening, credits theme song is on par with other things that are out there. It's a Netflix opener, it's a Game of
Yeah.
Thrones
Yep.
sort of thing, and it does not look bad. Yeah, so I'm just like, I'm they're wanting this to be prestige television, and for the most part, I think they're succeeding. But again, there's just a couple shots where it's like, we should have done that a little different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going back to the wanting it to be prestige, I have not felt that any dialogue or scripting that I noticed has not felt cheesy. The music has been wonderful. Even the stuff where you have people singing on screen, which can be cringy, even in high quality stuff.
Yes,
In this, I feel like it's natural, it
it's quite good.
fits, it works, and it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do feel like this has been done on par with, at the very least, if not, I mean, I haven't watched Game of Thrones, I haven't watched Hedge Knight. Well, I guess it's, Hedge Knight to me, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms to the rest of the world. I haven't watched that, but I have watched, Rings of Power, which Rings of Power does have some places where you're like, I kind of feel like there's, I can feel like the cracks or whatever that you're talking about. Um, I feel like this is almost on par with Rings of Power as far as viewing
Yeah.
experience for me has gone.
Well, Rings of Power and things like Shadow and Bone and other fantasy stuff on Netflix or Amazon. Uh, I feel like they've been better at the large sweeping shots. Like, there's in season 2 of Rings of Power, they siege that city, and in Shadow and Bone, there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. Um, we haven't really seen that scale yet.
No, but the scale is not natural for this because
Sure, sure.
it's clans coming against each
Yeah,
other. It is, because the whole idea behind Arthur is he is uniting these small clans, these fiefdoms, these various kings, and he is high king. And so it's like you are still king of your place. You're just pledging fealty basically to an emperor,
right.
and he is the one who's going to lead them all, basically against
Well,
the invaders.
but
And
I'm just saying that we're talking about cinematic quality, and it's easier to judge those other ones because they have those moments where it's, epic
yeah,
movie level
well,
battles, and where we're in the tight shots and it's the character moments, this show totally holds up.
and
Um
we will see because there's going to be some scenes coming if they stay going with the book. There's going to be some scenes coming, even with Merlin, before we get to Arthur, where there are some what should be like Braveheart battles, and but if they do it, that's the trick. Do you do it like Braveheart, where you have like armies of people, or do you do it like Lord of the Rings, where obviously not every orc was actually standing in dirt on the ground for the
Right.
camera. Um, that's
Well, they
that's
did
the
do they
question.
did do the one shot where they're laying on the cliff looking at the army below, and that looked really cool. Like that looked really legit.
But that might have been people.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
Cool.
like, and see, that's the other thing though is, okay, yeah, I know you can do almost anything with special effects, and now with AI making it even easier to do some of those things, you still have to have some budget to be able to do that with AI, but um, putting people in front of the camera, that always is going to look real
Yeah.
because it is.
But if you're trying to film
So
people, if you're
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
film, Ben Grimm, The Thing, and you put a person in front of the camera, hit and miss.
right. But that's the other thing about the Pendragon cycle is, there are some fantastic fantasy elements to it, but for the most part, it's pretty grounded.
Sure.
I mean, it's always, when we on Welcome to Level 7, when we used to talk about MCUing it,
Yeah.
where it's like, we're going to take the Marvel comic thing that's so crazy and wild, and we're going to try and ground it so it feels almost realistic.
Yeah.
Almost. They're getting away from that,
Yes, they
which
are.
is good. But, or Batman Begins,
Mhm.
where it's, could that all have happened like that? No, no. But it looks like it could have.
More plausible, yes.
Yeah.
More plausible.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's where, I mean, it's grounded, and I think this was a great selection. Like, if you're looking at things and saying, we want to make a our Christian version of Game of Thrones. We wanna make, our big budget Narnia that's by us, not them kind of a thing, like, and that's where I do wonder how much of this is a us versus them kind of a thing, like, can we do this that they have done? Can we as Christians do this thing that has been done so well and become very popular too?
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I feel like for the most part, I mean, I will give them a solid A,
Sure.
a
Yeah.
solid A, for the job they've done so far with these 3 episodes. And I'm just curious. I'm also curious, like, I haven't heard anything about a season 2, so I don't know what the timing is, and I hope it's not Rings of Power timing, where
Where it
it's,
takes 2 years to make a season.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, or Stranger Things timing.
Stranger Things is ridiculous timing. Yeah, let's not do that. Um,
But
yeah.
I also, the other thing I hope for is, when we get to the end of this season, will it feel like we wrapped up an actual storyline, or is it just we're stopping in the middle of the story? And
Yeah.
that's something, the first season of Stranger Things, they never had to do another episode,
Yeah.
and it's still a solid season of television worth revisiting. Even though maybe there's not a sequel to it, but we'll still watch it because it's a good solid um it's a good solid collection of story
Mhm.
that gives you a nice payoff that you feel like, I sat through something that mattered. And that's why I do feel like we're probably going to get, although I don't remember the ending for Merlin, but I do feel like we're probably going to get, this book will be done by the end of this season, and it's
Okay.
going to feel like we're done, but it's also going to feel like there's more to do. And yeah, so that's what I'm hoping for anyway. Um, all right, so let's talk about some of those spiritual things.
Sure.
What have you
Yeah.
thought about that? Like,
I re
the some of the different portrayals of things. Now, there's some really, I mean, it's obviously, it's again from the source material, but it's kind of this turning point where you've got the people coming, the monks are coming to reclaim their chapel, and M Merlin and Taliesin are both, Merlin not so much. We'll talk about him probably in later episodes, but Taliesin coming and having his visions, and his vision of the old god and the sacrifice in the past,
yeah.
and then his vision of the new god, or
Yeah, was that
the
supposed to be God,
everlasting.
the old guy?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be God? Interesting
Yep.
choice.
Yep.
But I do like what they're doing. It's neat. It's kinda like, they're treating these kind of like pseudo, uh, Book of Acts sort of thing, like where it's this is what the miraculous things God did to move his his faith and influence into
Mhm.
Britain, and as long as you are thoroughly understanding that it's fictional, I think it's cool,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Well, and obviously it is
yeah,
fictional, but, um, there is an element of, what's the verse in Romans where it's like the all of creation points to God,
yeah,
basically, and there's an element there of where, yeah, Taliesin isn't necessarily seeking God, but he's seeking truth, and God's like, "Here's here's some truth for you. You gonna follow
yeah.
it?" And,
Well, I also thought
um
it interesting that the him and Karis are both talking to the old gods, which are assumably just demons or the devil,
Mhm.
like when the cow god talks, super scary.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think that's interesting, and I like that element in there. I'm interested. Yeah, and you know this because you've read the books, but I'm interested to see because Merlin doesn't seem to be a Christian. Like Taliesin was clearly he converted to Christianity and was
Yeah.
baptized, and Merlin does not seem to be that way. And he's yeah, so I'm
So
interested
the
where it goes.
this is probably, I hope it's not too much of a spoiler, but we kinda seen it here where he is learning about, things. He basically learns from everything. He learns from the druids, he learns from, the people, the wisdom, but he also is quoting scripture here,
Sure. Mhm.
and like he's learning scripture. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to learn have the Latin lessons or whatever. Um, but he is, yeah, he's kind of that. I guess Taliesin is also that kind of fulcrum where it's the old stuff and the new, and God is coming and making make God's message is coming, I should say, and uniting some of the people behind Christianity. Um, but it is a through line with the books, and you know, how do we serve God and serve man? How do we serve man through serving God, and how do we do what God wants us to do for our fellow man, kind of a thing. So, we'll definitely be seeing more of that from Merlin. So, yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that a lot. And again, I like the it's interesting that because obviously Merlin in fiction is very famous for doing magic, and there is some uh it's miraculous stuff happening. Like he makes
Hmm.
the one druid man dumb,
Yeah, yeah.
who's trying to curse him. Uh, that's a very like Book of Acts sort of scenario. So I think it's just that's very interesting.
That was a scene that I had forgotten about. There's certain scenes that I remember very vividly from when I read them originally. The bullfighting is one. Like I remember the bullfighting vividly as a part of Taliesin, the book. Um, that's a scene I did not remember, but when I did the reread just now, recently this year, I'm like, this is a great scene.
Mm,
This is a incredibly thematic scene for what's going on here. They better do it right. They better do it, and they did.
right.
They did. Like, I was very impressed with how well they did it. There are certain things, because I'm reading it so close to watching as well, where I'm like, "Oh, they're quoting the book right now.
Mm,
They're quoting the book right now," and, uh, that's one thing I really do appreciate is they have been saying so true to the original source material, Lawhead, the Stephen Lawhead source material, not necessarily, Mort to Arthur
yeah.
and Once and Future King source material, but yeah. Yeah, I've also let's talk about some of the acting
Yeah.
here, because I've been very impressed
Yeah.
by the actors. The guy playing Taliesin, just about perfect.
Yep.
The woman playing Karis has been, what I appreciate about her is that she feels so tall and otherworldly in some ways, and so when she's acting and is kind of acting more aloof and everything, it's perfect. It works really, really well for what I was kind of envisioning. She's not who I pictured when reading, but now I feel like she has done well enough that if I were to reread Taliesin, and she does show up more later on. I mean, we saw in the end of this episode, of the third episode, that she's back, Merlin. is
Yeah.
visiting her, and she hasn't aged a day.
Yeah.
So they're very long-lived.
Um,
Um,
m
but she's gonna be who I picture now as
sure.
I'm reading. So
The actress who plays Morgiane is very good. I thought her performance was very believable. The My favorite guy though so far has been the Mad King from episode 3. Because he like when he first appeared on the camera, I was like, oh, this guy's chewing the scenery. But then the more they said on, I'm like, okay, I'm into it.
yeah, yeah.
He's nailing it. It's very good.
And then I'm like, that dude is fit. Like, he's running around with his sword, and I'm just, "Okay, you kinda surprised me now. This is part of your power, I think, is that people underestimate you because you don't look as strong as you are right now." But when he's some of his expressions when he's fighting,
Yeah.
he's just
Like they picked a good guy for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, it was Vortigern, I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, yeah, and we're getting closer to Arthur now. I mean, we've got something more recognized or Uther.
Yeah.
He's an important person. I'm not gonna spoil how important, but he's an important person in the Arthurian legends, and um, yeah, we're getting to some. But the guy that plays Merlin, from the trailers, I wasn't sure what to expect, but finally watching it, I feel like he is really. I feel like, and I don't know how they found someone who can act like that, who also has yellow eyes like that. Like they got lucky finding a yellow-eyed guy
Yeah.
to play this part.
Mhm.
I
The eyes look
I
really good actually. Like
yeah, yeah, they do. They
I'm
they're creepy on that baby though.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I think they're supposed to. But
Yeah,
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 he's he definitely he looks cool. After after he gets out of there and he starts wearing the hood, I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing here. He's very Merlin-y. Now here's something though that it's another one of those things where it's like, for me, not knowing anything about where this is going, I'm like, okay, there's a bunch of really cool swords showing up.
mhm,
Which one's the sword? Which one is it going to be?
yeah. Well, there's gonna be 2, and this is where I get very confused now. I'm pretty sure when I was in high school and college, I had it all sorted out, but right now there's a sword in the stone, which is not Excalibur.
Right.
I believe Excalibur is the sword that the Lady in the Lake has,
Yes.
and, we have mentioned the Lady in the Lake,
Yep.
so we know who the Lady in the Lake is, but, yeah. So I am pretty sure, but I do not remember, that the Emperor's sword is going to be the sword in the stone.
And then the his
Uh,
mom's sword is going to be Excalibur.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, because when he's holding that, when Taliesin's holding that sword, he's like he wants to put it down because it's too scary.
yeah, yeah.
So
Um, so yeah, we got some cool stuff coming, but again, there's just so much to all of the stuff with the Arthurian legends. There's so much they can do, and yeah, I mean Stephen Lawhead did 7 volumes, and so I feel like I would love it if they could just keep going and just based on these 3 episodes. Now every television show has the very real uh potential to fail
yeah,
and fall on its face. So we'll see where it goes after these 3 episodes, but high praise from me. Um, the one thing that I was surprised by, because it was even more so than what we saw in the trailer. In the trailer, you did see Karis's outfit as a bull jumper, where it was very, very skimpy,
yes,
and you realize once you start seeing it more in action for extended periods of time, it's even more skimpy than you thought.
yep.
And so I was surprised by that. And how much was actually revealed in the skimpiness of the outfit. So that is something to consider, especially if you're going to want to watch with. It's also bloody, so this is not for young children.
Yeah,
This is there is some very, I mean, blades are going into bodies and coming out with blood.
splattering is happening.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, the time when Karis got hit by the bull,
Mhm.
like that looked very real, and I felt it in my. I was like, ooh.
Did
So
I send you I didn't
it's
send
always
it to
good when
you.
you react viscerally to what's on the screen because then you know they did it right.
Yeah,
So
I don't know how this ended up in one of my feeds, but this guy who,
you showed.
puts on the goat.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He actually did another one where he was wearing, plate armor. And he
Well, so for the listeners or the viewers or whatever, this guy and somebody, I guess, his viewers dared him to go out into like this field of goats with or rams with a T-Rex inflatable costume on because goats are supposedly scared of those, and he just gets nailed by these goats or rams.
well, it's just one goat, I think. It's just the
Yeah.
one goat, that attacks him, and so apparently that's his thing, or one of his things is, this goat attacks, and so they show him in football gear, and like his viewers are telling him, "Wear this." And so with the football gear, he gets knocked down hard. With the plate armor, the goat comes and plows right through him, and but the goat actually like stumbles and falls afterward, and so that was a draw
Mm.
for him. And then the T-Rex was after the plate armor, I think, but it's all just like him putting on different things where his viewers are like, yeah, wear this, man, and then let him. And but the plate armor, yeah, it does remind me a little bit of what you're talking about with Karis getting
Yeah.
mowed over by the bull. So yeah, I forgot. I showed the plate armor to my boys, but I sent you the dinosaur one
Yeah.
because um T-Rex costume.
Yeah.
Like I've seen you probably wear that exact one, right?
No, I haven't worn that one. I've worn the Godzilla costume.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Almost died in that thing, man. Like we were doing a camp and we were playing like capture the flag type of game at the in the middle of the night, and I'm dressed up as the dinosaur to just go out and freak out the kids, and I underestimated my physical fitness. Like I was like, I used to be able to do this, and I have not done this in a couple of years. And like by the time I got to the other side of the field, I'm like, just dying inside a Godzilla costume in the woods. Fun.
Yeah. So so I do like what they do with the old gods though, and with the bull, and
Yeah.
just and Atlantis falls. Like the bull tumbles over, um and Atlantis goes down. There was a lot more to that in the books, but actually, in Taliesin, uh, I thought I remembered from reading it when I was in high school and college. I thought I remembered more of the sinking of Atlantis
Yeah.
and the escape from Atlantis, but there wasn't as much as I actually remembered. So somehow I structured some extra material from it in my mind. But
Well,
yeah, but they had
that's a big budget event.
yeah, yeah. Um, Yeah. Well, anything else you want to talk about with this?
For Merlin, not really. We looking forward to it on Thursdays. To watch it. It's cool I hope it succeeds because I mean, like just like when The Chosen succeeded, and blew everybody's expectations away. It's opened that floodgate for Angel to just churn out awesome Christian content, and I'm hoping this will do the same.
I'm just curious too, though. Like, again, this is just on a practical side of things. Like, how I haven't heard anyone talking about this. There's been a couple different threads on some Facebook groups for Christian fantasy people that they've said, "Hey, have you watched this?"
Mm.
But I have not seen much conversation about this at all. And so I'm curious, like, who is watching this? I am also wondering how many people are going to be like I could have been if I didn't want to start watching it right away, um, and just wait until it's all done,
Yeah,
and then just sign up for a month and let it go. Which I do so on there have been some streaming services where I'll sign up, watch the thing I wanted to watch, but I'll wait until the thing I wanted to watch has accumulated.
Yeah.
Um, Now what I was not going to do was pay for the, special all access plus, $150 for the year or something like that, and I could have watched the first 2 episodes on Christmas Day
Right. Yeah.
if you did that. I was not going to do that. That just was not in the budget, not in the plans, not in the cards, um but I did wanna start watching this as it came out because I was excited. I was excited. This
Yeah.
is an author I respect. This is an author that I love. I have not read everything by him, and there has been 1 or 2 things that I've read that I did not like. Now this book here, though, Byzantium, I love this one so, so much. Um, and his, Albion saga, or the Song of Albion, um, that is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. Like, I put that up there on par with, on some levels, Lord of the Rings.
Mm.
It's more accessible than Lord of the Rings, and it's more of a pop fantasy than Lord of the Rings, but, that is now I understand why they didn't make that. I understand Merlin, Arthur, that has the pop culture, um, uh,
Recognition.
yeah, recognition. But Song of Albion, I love that trilogy, and I recently reread that, talked about it on the YouTube channel, and it's so good. It's so, so good. And so for me to find out they were doing this, I'm like, this is great. Like, this is somebody who deserves this kind of success with his books. Like, he has done some amazing things. Byzantium is very interesting because it's a historical fiction, just about this um, young monk who goes on a mission for his monastery, and it's so so good. But it's also really long. It's really 865 pages. 870 pages,
Nice.
so that could have been a trilogy, but, yeah, and so I was glad that they're doing this. I'm curious because there's another big Christian fantasy thing coming up pretty soon here with the Narnia Netflix thing, which we'll
Mm.
see, but here it's being done right.
Yes.
Here, it's being done right, and I'm excited to see where they go with it. There's one person that he was very excited about it, but when he watched the trailer, he was very put off by the wardrobe for Karis,
Oh,
and I understand that. I understand that. I don't disagree with him. Like, there, it's not more than you see if you go to a public beach, but it's more than you want to see,
yeah.
depending on how
It
you feel
reminded
about
me
those
of
kind of
Wonder Woman.
things. Huh?
It reminded me of Wonder Woman and those,
Eh, but even then, I feel like there's even
skin
more
display.
what?
Skin?
Well, yeah, more skin. That's that's the better more skin. I was gonna say flesh, and it was like, yeah, that feels like I don't know. Um, more skin is visible, and but at the same time, it's also like a very practical outfit
For what they're
um
doing, yeah.
for what they're doing, and yeah.
And it's more than the ancient Greeks wore when they were doing sports.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you can reference that here by doing what they did here.
Yeah.
Like, that's yeah. So, yeah, I've just been very, very pleased with it, and, um, I hope that they continue with the quality of what they've been doing, and I feel like it's in good hands. I don't know anything about the creatives behind it. I don't know anything about the director,
Well, Jeremy
showrunner.
Jeremy Boring, who I think is the director and showrunner, is the co-founder of Daily Wire with
Oh,
Ben
okay.
Shapiro. Yeah, and it's been interesting to hear, Ben Shapiro hawk this thing because it's clearly Christian,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's just and
Well,
he
he's listed as a producer.
yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah, because he owns the company.
yeah.
So I just
Yeah, the one big jarring thing for me was I knew Brett Cooper was part of this, but when she pops up in some of Merlin's visions, I'm just like, oh, this feels like I'm just seeing like because she used to be with Daily Wire. They fired her, um, but she used to be with Daily Wire when they were producing this, and like, oh, I wonder. She hasn't done any acting yet. All she's done so far is show up in visions for Merlin
Mm.
and kind of stand there and look mysterious. And I know who she's supposed to be based on now what I've seen with the visions and now where I've gotten in the book. I'm like, is she gonna be able to pull this off? Because there's some there's some acting. I know she was a theater kid. I don't know too much about her, but I did hear that they one of the things when they cast her, like she talked about being a theater kid. And I'm like, okay, so
Sure.
she's acted before and maybe she can sing. I don't know, but
Well, they have. I mean, they've. Haven't noticed any bad acting yet in this thing.
well, like I said, Brett Cooper didn't have to do any acting yet. She just had to
Oh
stand
yeah,
there and
but I'm saying their standards have been pretty great so far. So hopefully that
yeah, yeah.
standard will carry
The
on. You know.
the one thing I wanna look into is I believe this is just I saw a headline. The actress who plays Karis was someone who was actually in the writer's room,
Huh.
or I believe in the writer's room, but it may have been a producer. But she said something like, "When we were writing these lines, I did not realize I was writing them for me." And so I'm curious what she meant, and I may have misread that. I have not taken a look to see can I find this interview again because it was just like a it was on my Facebook feed. I was scrolling through and I was like, "Oh, I wonder what that's all about." And then I kept going. And then I'm like start watching and oh, maybe I should have paid more attention to that because that's a really interesting angle. So maybe by the time we record together again, I'll know more about that. But
Yes,
yeah.
and I also think it'd be fun if you had more homework and you watch the Guy Ritchie King Arthur, because that's the most recent King Arthur thing that's been done since before this. It'd be interesting to see the comparison.
Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like I saw trailers for it and it was just very Guy Ritchie.
It's very Guy
And
Ritchie. Like,
okay.
yeah, it's more Guy Ritchie than the trailers.
Okay. Like they're wearing clothes that look old, but also don't look old, and
Yes.
they're talking in ways that don't feel old.
And in
And
some places, it's filmed like it's like a modern war movie, and then in other places, it's like, "Let's do Final Fantasy X," you know?
okay.
And so,
All right.
yeah, so I'd be very interested to see what your thoughts are.
Okay. Well, I think that's that then, Evan.
Okay,
It's good to talk to you again,
you too,
and,
and
we will talk hopefully next week about what do you wanna do, Pantheon or 2025?
let's do 2025 so we don't get too far away like last time, and we do it in
You mean,
August.
like, the whole year?
Yeah. I think we did it in September, so let's not do
Eh,
that, let's do 2025, and then we'll do Pantheon. Um, yeah. But again, we won't need to say it's been great to talk to you again because we're gonna be doing this every single week for the rest of our lives from this point on. So,
well, I mean, there are a few things that have happened that'll make things easier for us to be able to do that,
yes,
and yeah. So, I do feel like maybe not every week, but I think we can at least
of course,
commit to
there's
an
some
every other
exceptions that
week.
have to be made. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we need to commit to an actual timeline and schedule and say, yeah, if we're
I'm
gonna
ready.
do this, yeah. Yeah, it's hard though. I mean, we got lives and we both have creative things that we're doing and both have jobs that we're doing and we both have families that we're supporting and living with and watching grow up
Yep.
and yeah, yeah. So that's that
Alright.
then. All
Yes.
right. Final word.
Final word is check this out, guys. They're doing that special thing where you get it's a discount just for getting the Daily Wire subscription to watch the
Eh,
Merlin. So yeah.
and you get free access to things that I think you'd have access to anyway, behind the scenes stuff. But there's the thing that I was interested about. There was free character cards
Ooh.
that I did go so far as to click to see. Like, what's this going to be? What do they mean when they say free? What do they mean? And
Mhm.
they do mean free, except for shipping and handling.
Of course. Yes.
And I stopped there because I'm like, I don't need to spend any money on something I don't need. And I don't need character cards
And this is very true, ladies and gentlemen, because I think like 2 days before Christmas, I texted Ben with pictures of $7 action figures that I found from Superman the movie, and they were Kenner style action figures, and it was Margot Kidder, and Superman had the green necklace, and General Zod, and Ben turned them down. I said, Ben, I put them all in my cart because I'm like, he's gonna want these, and then
Okay, the you are correct. I did want them.
yes,
Yes, yes, did and do, but I've got no place to put them, and I'm trying to be careful. I'm trying to be careful about that
they're,
kind of. I mean,
they're the same size as the Star Trek motion picture figures that you have. Yep, they could have hung out together on the shelf.
yeah. No, and oh man, if I had been a kid when those came out, because those are exactly what I would have. They look like the Star Wars Kenner. They should have been on the shelf next to Star Wars Kenner
Yeah.
Star Wars action figures and the Mego Star Trek action figures that um and this is out because I have 2 Spocks. So I have a full set somewhere in a box, but that's just it. Like I have so many things that are in boxes. I don't know what to do about them. I never got back into it to unpack them after we moved, and we've been here for 4 years now.
Well, when Dougie moves out, you've got a display room.
W I've got kids moving out before him, okay?
Okay.
So, like
Some of the other ones move out. You got more display room.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, my final words are, hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit like, hit subscribe. If you are listening on a podcast, please subscribe to us on your podcast catcher. And definitely, find us on TikTok where we are, I believe it's Strangers and Aliens 42. I should have that memorized, but
I
it's
don't
something
own
like
it.
that.
I don't want it to.
And we are on Facebook, facebook.com/strangers and aliens. And those are the 2 places right now where I've put my focus. We do have a Twitter, but I don't use it. And it's not Twitter anymore. I mean, I haven't used it since it was Twitter. And we have Instagram as well that I'm trying to figure out. So whatever. Yeah. So until next time, Evan, thanks for hanging. Everyone else, thanks for hanging. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Have you read the books? Do you like the books? Have you watched the show? Do you like the show? Are you not going to watch the show? Why not? Let us know in the comments below. And until next time, Godspeed.
We're going to be doing this every single week for the rest of our lives.